Welcome back everybody to another lesson in the Time of Your Life productivity course. This particular lesson is about the power of focus. Concentrate your thoughts at the task in hand. On the task at hand, the sun's rays do not burn until brought into focus. Certainly I recall when we were children, perhaps it was a boy thing to do, we used to burn the backs of our hands in the hot summer months to see how much pain we could stand caused by the rays through a magnifying glass. But really, focus is a tremendously important thing in achieving anything in life, and I just would like first of all to address one of the misconceptions about focus. Multitasking. This is often seen as a virtue, but in actual fact multitasking is task switching, and the process of switching between one task and another takes up not only time but a great deal of mental resource. You may want to think of it a little bit like rebooting a piece of software on a computer when you're moving between one application and another, or perhaps trying to re-emerge yourself into reading a book when you've left the book for a while and you have to go back to it. You have to reset the scene. So task switching is a very large drain on resources, mental resources. It actually degrades the focus and the attention on a task. It makes you far less productive. It also stops you getting in the flow, that very well documented state in which you're most productive, where you're working at your peak and really moving forward on a task. It stops you doing that if you're switching between one task and the other. And interestingly, if you'd like a piece of scientific evidence to support this idea, there was a study done at London University where participants of the study did various cognitive tasks, and it was found that their IQ was lowered by multitasking to the same extent as it would be if they had been without a night's sleep or had smoked marijuana. So the suggestion there and the evidence suggests that multitasking is very counterproductive and not a good idea if you want to move forward on a particular task. And the next slide really relates to that whole concept, busyness and work. It's very easy to look busy, to look as if you're doing lots and to be frazzled by the end of the day, but that doesn't necessarily mean that you have achieved anything. Real work is taking action that moves you forward. Busy is just being active, dotting around from here and there and everywhere. That is not real work. Real work is taking action that moves you forward. Now, what can help you in this course really is to define a particular mission or intention whenever you set out each day to do some work, or if you have a block of time to achieve something whilst you're at work. Define a mission, define intention, define what you are going to get out of that block of work. Now, another very important aspect in terms of focus is your ability to say no. I would suggest that you get used to saying no to a multitude of tasks that come your way. Now, believe me, in my past experience with the dedication, I know it's extremely difficult sometimes and sometimes unavoidable to not react to the various things that might happen on a day-to-day basis, but there are many other situations in which you can indeed say no. Because if you want to make a real impact in your life and you might want to contribute or make an impact on other people, you cannot possibly be involved in and be absorbed in every demand that is asked of you. So it's important that you learn to say no to what is not important and focus on those things that are important. Next thing, you need to have systems in place, systems and structures. One of the main negative aspects of modern technology is email and social media indeed. It's very easy to respond to every email that comes through your email system or every message or notification from social media. This will get you nowhere. I would suggest that you set some times during the day, and not first thing in the morning when you are at your most productive, but set some times in the day when you will put time aside to answer social media requests or email requests. Set systems in place. I think this idea of saying no is summarized very well by Steve Jobs there, who says simply, focusing is really about saying no. Now another nice metaphor which you might find useful and how you might consider distractions is to think of Homer's Odyssey, the part in it where Odysseus is returning home from the Trojan War, and he has to sail past some rocks with sirens on there. Now, if he knows that if he responds to the songs of the siren, he will steer towards those rocks, and himself and his men will be almost certainly killed. So what he does is he instructs his men to stuff wax into his ears and to strap him to the mast of his boat to enable him to resist temptation. Now, I am aware that that story is not exactly accurate, but you get the general idea. If you think of distractions as being like the sirens, and they are a threat to your safe journey towards the completion of your meaningful tasks and goals. It's not, I wouldn't suggest for a moment that you would want to tie yourself to a mast or put wax in your ear, but you can set the scene by creating an environment where you aren't going to be distracted if at all possible, and perhaps more importantly, if you have a clear sense of purpose, a clear intention of what you want to achieve before you set to work, and this is going to make you far less likely to be distracted by the siren song. Now, a progress opportunity that I'd like to discuss here, you may have heard of it, is the idea of the rocks, pebbles, sand concept, where if you put the sand and the pebbles into a jar first, you may find that you haven't got space to put the rocks in. The rocks are those important tasks, those tasks that give you the most impact, a little like we discussed when we discussed the Pareto analysis, the Pareto principle. The rocks are the important, high impactful things. Put them in the jar first, schedule those into your day or your week first, and you will then be able to fit the less important things like the answering of the emails or the checking the social media. They are your rocks or your pebbles. So make sure you schedule the important things, the rocks, and then fit everything else around those. Remember, it's easier to say no to important things when you have a compelling yes for what matters. So try that during the week. Try using the rock, pebble, sand scenario or any other of the techniques I've suggested in this lesson to see if you can get a more productive week. Thank you.